everyone, my name is Pixlriffs. Welcome back to Decidedly Vanilla. Today I'm going to show you a bit of work on the house, and then we're going to head into the Nether and get ourselves some quartz, because house is coming along pretty well. I just want to show you some of the stuff I've got up here. Up here, the Adobe village has not made a great deal of change recently. Been doing a little bit of stuff in the workshop, but nothing else. I've got myself possibly the best chest plate I will ever need, the only chest plate I will ever need, and after having named the bow Sagittarius, I thought I would go with like a Signs of the Zodiac theme for my weapons and armor and that kind of thing. So the chest plate is Taurus, the bow is Sagittarius, and I have an axe I'm working on which is Capricorn. And I've got myself a sharpness book, and I need to check down here if sharpness can be added to this axe, because if it's got efficiency, I think you can still add sharpness. It's not like they conflict. You can! Oh, that's going to be so good. I don't want to have sharpness 3, I want to have sharpness 5, because I want to use this as my main fighting weapon. Like, I've got a sword with smite 2 on right now, because I've been using that in the skeleton spawner, but that is not going to be our weapon of choice. And I don't really need looting. Let me run this past you guys, because I know looting is kind of a desirable effect to have on a sword, but hear me out. That's the shaders thing. Don't worry about the shaders thing. Let's get rid of the chat messages. There we go. No problem. The thing about looting is that most of the time, the mob drops it gives you aren't really, like, necessary. And we have so many different ways of farming mob drops. I'm going to throw that back in there for now, because I don't intend to enchant the axe right now. We have so many ways of farming mob drops, like spider farms. We've got a skeleton farm set up here already. We could have one for rotten flesh. Gunpowder is kind of the only thing we need in great supply, and even that you don't use for a great deal of stuff. If you're using it for splash potions, which, considering I don't use TNT all that much, is pretty much the only thing you need a steady supply of gunpowder for. You don't really need to use looting in order to get it from creepers. You can just fight as many creepers as you feel necessary, and the gunpowder you get will keep you going for a while. So the only thing that I think looting is really useful for is giving you a better chance of getting wither skulls, and we're nowhere near the need to have a wither fight right now. I don't intend to like go and get a beacon set up immediately and get super OP with it. I am more than happy to just let things go. And when we do have the opportunity to fight a wither, I'm thinking that a better option for getting wither skulls might be to get a smite sword with looting instead of a sharpness sword with looting, and then just stick with sharpness on the axe. Let me know what you guys think. I'm kind of interested in how the changes to 1.9 combat have affected people's weapon loadouts, for want of a better word. It's not really like a loadout in Minecraft, but they're kind of preferred tools, if you like, because I'm definitely feeling like axes are the way forward for now, and just having like an extra spot on your hotbar. If you just had an axe to fight with, you could just eliminate the sword entirely, and then you could stick more stuff in your hotbar. That's the kind of thing that I'm interested in. This bow, by the way, is kind of what I've been doing all of my fighting with, because it's power 5, so it takes things out super easily, and the fact that it's got mending already means that it's pretty much never going to run out. So I now have, in terms of my mending tool set, I have an axe, a fishing rod, a bow, and a chest plate, all of which have mending on, and I'm pretty happy about that. I think that's a pretty good setup to have so far. I'm farming jungle wood for now because I've been turning all of this into charcoal, mainly for experience, so I can test out how mending works on this axe. And to be honest, every time I get through a jungle tree like this, it's not worn down the axe all that much, because it has Unbreaking 3 on it. So like you can see, it's only used about 40 durability for a couple of stacks worth of blocks. If I now go and smelt all of this into charcoal, I will get that experience back and then some. So it's pretty good. It's not bad as a system, and I'll show you the house in a minute, guys. I've not forgotten that I need to show you the house. I've been using this lava lake out the back here instead of building the back end of the house, because I'm really not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I have been using that as fuel for all the smelting operations. So anytime I get resources, or I want to smelt some stone or something like that, I just take another chunk out of this lava lake, and eventually I'm going to drain the entire thing and then by that point I will have a design for the back of the house and I will know what to do with it. So it's a pretty decent system so far. I think it's working pretty well, and I have not managed to fall into this yet. So much the better. And the best thing about it is that I have a full set of fire protection armor, apart from the leggings, which I haven't enchanted yet. Every time I've gone for something it says Unbreaking 3, it's given me fire protection. The same with the helmet and aqua affinity. I was like, yeah, aqua affinity, that'll be great. I've been digging up a bit of clay so that I can smelt it for bricks, stuff like that. I could use that, and it gave me fire protection. Of course it did. So yeah, we're going to go into the Nether today, so fire protection might be a little bit handy there, but my main plan is to go in there and get some quartz. Got myself a Fortune 3 pickaxe. I will add mending to this later so we can kind of heal it back up again, as it were. Healing tools, that's just such a strange concept, but it feels like it should be something out of modded, except this time around it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be vanilla, and it's going to be very, very useful. You'll probably never need another set of tools again once you have mending on all of your tools. You will need an experience farm. So I'm really happy that Jeff has already set up one of those. So this is the house. This is how it's looking so far, at least, and I'm really happy with the way this has turned out, especially the windows, which have these fence gates in front of them. I showed you some of this in the last episode, but I've really kind of got to grips with the style and everything, and I'm really happy with it. The second floor is taking shape. It's still not done, and I need to, thank you for saving the world, server, I need to figure out what's going to happen with the back and what's going to happen with the top floor. These archways I didn't really touch on in the last episode, but they're are fantastic ways you can use trapdoors and item frames together, like this, for example. I'm really happy with this. The fact that it doesn't connect to the trapdoor with the glass means that you can have an item frame there. You can put whatever you want in it. I've used my, previously, the Pixlriffs design company kind of glass formation. I think it just looks pretty kind of like that. And around the side here, I was thinking about having a garden. Kind of these open entrances lend themselves really well to just walking out into a garden area that is walled off so that you don't just get mobs wandering into your backyard. And I really like the way this design came out as well. I'm quite happy with that. It's just a combination of fences and then open and closed fence gates give this really nice ornate lattice pattern that I think somewhat resembles the kind of Chinese architecture I'm going for. It's not 100% there, but it's at least, like, you get the intention, you get where it's going. And then this gate at the back I think looks pretty cool as well. Oh, I'm picking up jungle saplings. Good. I've been worried about not having a surplus of these, but it looks like we're doing pretty well out of those big trees, so can replant those when we want to. I'll stick them in the chest here for now. But yeah, these gateways, stuff like this, really excited by how that's turned out. I think that's gone super well. In here, I'm not sure exactly what the layout is going to be yet. I will probably put down some carpet and stuff like that, and then these stairs here are going to lead up to the second floor. But I mainly need to get myself some quartz so I can start making the daylight sensors that are going to be the ceiling for this room, and then the rest of the house can take shape and I'll be able to continue smelting stuff using the lava from here. Eventually this will be completely drained and I can convert it into something else, but I wanted to use the lava instead of turning it all into obsidian. Just a couple of blocks here and there turned out into obsidian. The rest of it I'm going to be using for smelting, because that's a really nice fuel source to have right there on the surface. And I'm pretty sure fire tick is off on this server, so if I built right up to the lava I don't think it would matter too much, but just to be safe I want to steer clear of it for now until it's all cleared out. Right, let's go to the Nether and let's find ourselves some quartz, shall we? And there's a cow in here with us. This guy seems to have wandered in from the overworld. He's not named or anything, so he's not the Nether Hub mascot as far as I know. There's a little bit of quartz in here already. I think I'll leave that in there just in case somebody, probably KB, is coming back for it. But this is how the Nether Hub is looking so far. It's pretty much just a door out to the Nether and then a straight shot to the fortress, which KB and I were working on a little while ago. And I'm pretty sure it's completely spawn-proof in here. These are all stone slabs, so nothing should be able to spawn inside of there, and I'm not entirely sure how it works with stuff spawning on soul sand. What is that? Oh, that's mushrooms. I thought that was nether wart. It's like, why is that growing over there? But yes, we have a mission now, which is to find a bunch of quartz and fortune it for all the quartz we will need for daylight sensors, and it's going to be a lot, so I'm expecting to get a few stacks from this trip. Luckily, we don't have to convert it into blocks, because that would be even more expensive, but we can just take a look around here. I'm really happy with the nether spawn, but we're not going to work on having a proper nether hub just yet. I'm pretty sure, having run this past everybody, that they agreed, but if people have nether hub designs and stuff, it would be kind of cool to start working on that fairly soon, but I kind of want to hold off until people have bases a little bit further out, because there's not going to be any point in creating a massive, ornate, beautiful nether hub if everybody's bases are just going to be kind of in the place they are now. If everyone's just going to be working in Farhaven the entire time, we're not going to need all these different nether portals going everywhere. So it would be interesting to see how that turns out in future. For now, I think we will deal. Where is the quartz? There doesn't seem to be any anywhere except in the ceiling, so maybe people have just been exploring around here for the resources. Maybe we should go a little bit further afield. Maybe we should head down to the Nether Fortress and see what's over there. It might even be worth exploring to see if we can find another fortress, because there's sure to be another one around, one that we haven't found yet. Let's take a trip through the Nether together and hopefully not fall off of anything. I also want to get some glowstone while I'm here. I don't have a silk touch tool yet. I have a silk touch book. I just haven't worked out exactly what I want to apply it to. I could, in theory, apply it to this axe as well, and then have the axe just be this all-singing, all-dancing multi-tool, but then I wouldn't be able to use it to get to silk touch ore, and it would work on stuff like glowstone, where pretty much any tool can break it, but it would not work on something like, you know, diamond ore or something if I wanted that. So I'm probably going to get a silk touch pickaxe. But I'm really interested in seeing how you can just minimize the amount of tools you need to use. Looks like somebody's been digging out quartz here, so this is perhaps not the place to look for it. Yeah, minimizing the amount of tools you need to carry with you at all times, so you don't have to keep swapping in and out of stuff. That's kind of what's interesting to me. And being able to use something like the axe as a weapon as well as a resource gathering tool seems like a good strategy. Hey guys, welcome back. As you can probably tell from the end of that last little bit, I was getting tired last night and my voice was going a little bit, so I decided to call it a night, and we are coming at you today with some fresh voice, in good voice this morning. I've done a bit more interior decoration off camera. I'm really loving the way this house is coming together. I think it's looking pretty great. Ignore the zombie noise for now, we'll get to that in a minute, but check this out. For table detail, I thought this was really cool, having the trapdoors act as legs, and the walls and fences in item frames look different in 1.9. Let me throw an item frame on the wall to give you guys an example. Do I have one in here? By the way, trapdoors as room dividers. It's changed everything. I'm a little bit worried that this has just become the house with all the trapdoors, because they're freaking everywhere. But I might try and tone down stuff like this a little bit later, but I've wanted to use trapdoors as room dividers since I heard that they were being implemented this way in 1.9. I think that just looks fantastic. It's just a really nice way of putting in a semi-transparent wall leading to another area, and it kind of fits in with the open plan style that you get in modern houses, so I really like this. Almost looks like one of those IKEA bookshelves with all the cubby holes that you could put stuff in, except unfortunately you can't. But let me show you what item frames and walls and fences now look like. So I'll throw this one up here, and you can kind of see it underneath the table, but the wall now looks like this. Previously, they kind of stuck out a little bit. It was just like a single, like, fence post style wall, and now they look like that. And with fences, they used to, again, sort of stick out of the frame. Now they kind of look like this. And I wonder how that's affected people who detail using fences for cupboards and stuff, because usually it was the case that you would have a low sort of cupboard down here. Let's use this furnace as an example. And then you could put a fence gate on there, or not a fence gate, a fence post, a fence panel, a normal piece of fence on there, and you could use that as though it were the handle of a drawer, and sometimes you'd put a banner over the front of it to make it look like a drawer. Now the fence looks like that. It's not really possible to do that, so we're going to have to revert to using stuff like trapdoors, which still have that kind of look. I don't know, it's interesting how they're changing these things and how these things will change the way we do interior detail, those of us who like that kind of thing. So yeah, the house has been coming along a little bit. This is what I meant about using daylight sensors in the ceiling, and I think this looks fantastic. I think it looks completely different to the kind of ceilings you normally see. It's kind of a different use of the materials, and I'm working out how it's going to work upstairs, because the daylight sensors, you can't really stick slabs over the top of them, because they're not like they take up the entire block, and this is pretty much the only thing I can do. I can put like a slab going up there and then a full block here, and then have the floor be a little bit raised up. So I'm working out what I can do around the outside. And of course, my first instinct was to be like, well, I can put trapdoors all the way around the outside like this. And that looks pretty cool. But again, it's just spamming trapdoors everywhere. And I'm a little bit worried that I'm getting ahead of myself with that. I'm not sure I want to do that completely. You could put them over the top of here, but then the problem is the daylight sensors will activate them every time they change signal. Oh, and I'm just taking them out left, right, and center. That's fine. I have stacks upon stacks of them. I came back from the Nether with about 6 stacks of quartz, which made me 2 stacks of daylight sensors. So I've been able to do the ceiling in here, and I'm thinking about doing the ceiling on the upper floor the same way. So this guy in here, who's been making the noise the entire time, is a zombie librarian, and I kind of want him to live with me. I kind of want him to move in and be my roommate right now, but the problem with this is that this house, being so open plan, is kind of an invitation for mobs to just wander in, right? So I'm going to have to either rely on lighting the area up really well, which Jefferson has been doing a pretty good job of over here, but there is still a ton of spawning around here at night or during thunderstorms or whatever. So we would have to seriously mob-proof the area, or the other option is that I surround the back part of the house with a wall and limit the amount of spawns coming into here, and then take some mob-proofing options like putting down minecart rail or something like that, so that they can't just walk in here, so that human beings can get in but mobs can't. I could do the kind of moat with carpet over the top idea. I could do something like that. I'm not sure what I'm going to go for yet, but I want to have villagers around. I don't want them to be kind of breeding here necessarily, but I do want to have a couple of librarians on call, just in case there's a chance to get Frostwalker or mending books. And so over there in the lake, I'm not sure if I showed this off in the last video or not, but I have trapped a few zombie villagers holding items, so I'm definitely collecting them here and there, and then maybe we will get ourselves a little zombie villager breeding, a villager breeding session going on. A zombie villager curing session. I made a cactus farm. Did I mention this in the start of the video? I don't think I did. This is a cactus farm, and it could be temporary. I just like the way it came out as a design, and I'm doing this just so I can get enough green stained clay for the rest of the house, because despite the fact that we're surrounded by desert, it was nice to have cactus here, and convenient instead of running out to the desert every time I needed another 8 blocks of cactus to smelt. So this is how the house has been going on, and I'm really liking it so far. I like the way this table came out and the kind of seating area, kind of emulating the Asian sort of Chinese and Japanese style of seating. I think it's specifically Japanese. I'm not sure if they do it in China, actually, so that may be me completely getting it wrong. But having the seating recessed into the floor and sitting kind of below ground level kind of thing, just tucking your legs under the table like that. And there would be cushions around here, but you can't really do cushions like this. I might swap some of these out for a different wood material so they actually feel a bit more like seats. I'm not sure, but it's not going to be like in minecarts where you can kind of sit in them. I'm not sure if I want to go that route this time around, although it would be quite easy to kind of tuck them in here, but we'll see. Using minecarts right now is a huge draw on iron, and I don't have a huge amount of iron, so we don't have a farm set up or anything like that, so maybe that will come another time. Still not sure what I'm going to do with the back of the house. Been putting a few paintings and stuff up here and there, and then the upper floor is going to be interesting. But I like the way the staircase worked out. It kind of turns into nothing right now, but we will get that figured out. And I'm going to cure this guy at some point once I know how it's going to be best to keep him safe. I'm still occasionally getting mob spawns on the roof up here as well, just along the outside edge of this stained clay. I get creepers and stuff spawning. Occasionally they've just dropped down in the middle of whilst I've been working on something downstairs, and I have had to run out of the door so that they don't blow up the interior. So far I've only had one creeper explosion, which was right here, and then I managed to repair that pretty easily, so wasn't too worried about that. I didn't really highlight this in the first part of the video either, but I built this custom tree here. I really like the way this turned out, kind of going with the acacia style of it branching off in a couple of different directions, but then making the trunk a little bit thicker, making the branches a little bit thicker, and using birch leaves instead of acacia leaves. And birch leaves are just going to be everything I build with here. I think they're just a fantastic alternative, considering that the leaf color here is so kind of yellowy brown. I think that's a nice way of doing things. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's episode. I wanted to tell you guys real quick that tomorrow I'm starting a new series in a game called Hyper Light Drifter, which I'm really, really excited for and would love it if you guys checked out. The first episode has some kind of disturbing images. It's the kind of thing that would be like, you know, there'd be like a mild content warning on it because it's still kind of like all pixel arty and stuff, but there's some really, really messed up stuff that seems to be happening in it. But don't worry, it's not too bad. I don't know, you just have to see it for yourself. It's one of those games that's like, it's got that anime level of slightly disturbing, but still really, really compelling and interesting. And if you've not heard of the game, it's kind of like The Legend of Zelda or Sword and Sorcery or some of those kind of, it's like an homage to those 8-bit, 16-bit games of like the late 90s, maybe even early 2000s, depending on like whether you had a PlayStation or not, because I remember playing games like this into my kind of early teens, and it's those with like the difficulty level of something like Dark Souls is what people have been comparing it to, where the battles are really, really punishing, you don't have a lot of life, and the enemies have kind of attack patterns that you need to learn and stuff. I don't know, it's just look up a video about it online. Just look up like the trailer for it and see if it's your thing. And if it is, which it's absolutely my thing, it's like my aesthetic down to the ground, then I recommend you check it out because it's starting tomorrow. It's going to be like a full series of that, provided that I don't get stuck somewhere and just rage quit. And it's going to be really fun. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. It's coming out first thing tomorrow morning. Be sure to check that out. But thank you very much for watching today's episode of Decidedly Vanilla. My name has been Pixlriffs. Please leave a like on this episode if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more, and I will see you guys soon. Bye for now.